Overwatch 2 is a game with a fascinating universe, the story of which conflict between multiple organizations and even multiple races are both interesting and unique. This of course leads to very advanced world building that has led us to today's state of this strange universe. Magical interactions such as shiny spiritual dragons spawning from a cool looking tattoo have been in the game since the very beginning, but that hasn't stopped Blizzard for testing our tolerance levels of the players by slowly adding more and more bizarre and sometimes even outrageous features. In today's video I will try my best to find out who is the most logic-bending hero out of the entire roster. This concludes the talking animals and the wizards of this game. And yes, you heard me right, there are multiple of them. So without any prolonging, press that subscribe button already and help me reach 5k subscribers before the end of this month. And now let's begin this stupid video. To start our list, let's first decide who is completely fine and shouldn't even be considered later on. And thankfully there's quite a few of those characters, so let's do a quick rapid fire segment at the beginning. Ashe, a woman with a gun. McCree, a man with a gun. Soldier 76, another man with a gun. Roadhog, a fat man with a gun. Mei, a perfect woman. Widowmaker, a skinny woman with a gun and a skin disease. Bridget, a woman in armor. Anna, a woman with a sniper rifle. Baptiste, a man with a funny gun. Reinhardt, a big man with a funny hammer. Diva, a kid with a fancy and explodey toy. Torbjorn, a small man with an even funnier hammer. And lastly, Junker Queen, a big woman with a gun. This leaves us with potential 25 heroes that are breaking some major universe rules like levitating or very advanced technology, or even worse, both. So to actually have some healthy progress, let's try to play by the rules of the Overwatch universe, which means we are so far in the future that talking robots are on par with humans, and technology is advanced enough to easily allow for things such as Torbjorn's turrets or laser weapons to exist without any major questions. This opens up our first major category that are straight up robots. Just a heads up, not all of the mechanical beings are falling into this category, as some of them really take the Floor is Lava game to the heart, so for now, let's also put aside Orisa, Bastion and Ramatra. These three are just very advanced technology that still perfectly fit the universe of our game, and is not something brain-melting when you encounter them in-game or imagine them existing on day-to-day basis in their universe. I also did mention laser weapons for a reason, because I thought that maybe the Zarya cannon might be a little too much, but similarly to the robots case, there are way worse examples ahead of us. So let's just quickly throw Zarya and her bubbles, Symmetra and Lifeweaver into the completely fine for now basket. Like architecture is something usual in their universe as well, just like lasers. I will also squeeze in Sojourn here, but I will acknowledge that she is some kind of cyborg. But once again, with the technology so advanced, this wouldn't be something completely strange, seeing McCree rocking the prosthetic arm casually or Torbjorn's lava arm. Next up, we will welcome in two heroes that have their mobility cranked to 11 thanks to their equipment, Doomfist and Pharah. Flying people are something we can even see online today, so really Pharah should have been in that first section of humans, but I wanted to hold her in just a little bit longer, but Doomfist's rocket punch should straight up rip his arm off of his body whenever he uses it, but it's once again the cybernetic enhancements that might play a big role to why he is still in one piece. This is also a good moment to mention that if you disagree with anything I am saying here, I am more than happy to argue either in the comments or on my Discord server. So don't be shy, I promise I don't bite, and let's keep on moving now. Would you look at that, we are left with only 15 heroes. Smooth sailing for now. Following the logic with advanced technology, I think it is reasonable to get past Echo. I'm aware she can copy literally anything, including all the other heroes that are further in the list, but it's their fault, not Echo's. She's just doing what she was built for, and other than the copying mechanic, even her flying is somewhat explained with her wings, or whatever these are. If you were paying attention, you would know that I left one more robot from the roster, but he is going to come back later for obvious reasons. Now, we are getting to the segment I'd like to call technology that is a little too hard to believe that it could exist even in the Overwatch universe. In this category, we will welcome in Sombra due to her invisibility and insane teleporting device, Genji with his super advanced suit allowing him a mid-air thrust, aka double jump, and the Green Dragon hologram, yes, this is a hologram, trust me, and right besides them there will be Junkrat. While the other two are, in my opinion, completely understandable, Junkrat might be more confusing. Junkrat has the most advanced explosive technology that is almost magical, not hurting him, but it hurts everyone else. Farah hurts herself with her rockets, but Junkrat is a few thousand steps ahead with his mines. And now that I'm talking about all of that fancy technology, I just remembered that Hammond is basically the purest example of achievements of Overwatch scientific research. A highly advanced hamster that is super smart and doesn't age is still not as unbelievable as the rest of the heroes. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are officially done with electronics, circuit boards or Wi-Fi routers. Technology aside, we are going straight into mysterious magic, nonsense and basically superpowers. Firstly, in this category we will have two people who are basically Pinky and the Brain. That are Moira and Reaper. Moira is responsible for all the purple shadowy smoke stuff and Reaper is her unlikable test subject. We can all at least admire the efforts of the writers that try to plug it under the science category, but there are some limits I am not willing to accept. 9 heroes to go, and to be done with all the animals, we are quickly brushing off Winston. He's a talking ape, and on top of that he's as smart if not smarter than the hamster, most likely thanks to the bigger size of his brain. And cock. And of course, we cannot forget his greatest achievement, that is basically inventing time travel in a form of a living human being. But before we get into the time traveling stuff, another great scientist that deserves to be mentioned beforehand is Sigma. His gravity shenanigans are more believable and possible than literal time travel. Finally, understanding everything about one of the most basic things we experience every day is way more reasonable than the abomination that is Tracer. She not only survives a plane accident, but she also got a brand new disease unknown to anyone, and as you know, the monkey saves her life plus makes her have superpowers for basically free. And finally, in this lovely category, we will welcome in Lucio, who is our bridge towards introducing magic in the Overwatch universe. Healing with sound waves is simply impossible, no matter how scientific the universe is. Sorry. With only 5 heroes left, let's see where we at. We have Zenyatta, the floating Omnic that heals with magic. We have Hanzo, who has inhumane aim with his bow and can summon not 1 but 2 magical dragons, or wolves depending on his hat. We have Illari, who's enhanced with magical powers from the sun. We have Mercy, who can bring back dead people back to life, and lastly we have Kiriko, a teleporting teenager. As you can see, all of those heroes are breaking the laws and rules of not only our universe, but also the imaginary universe of this game. So might as well put all 5 of them on the first spot. But let's be fair, we all want to know who is the most bullcrap heavy hero, so let's start nitpicking. The number 5 spot, in my opinion, should go to Illari. Even with a complete bonkers story and her hilarious superpowers granted to her by a bunch of sun rays, is the most believable story I can tolerate. Laser weapons are something ordinary. Healing with some kind of technology is basic stuff, and flight can be done too, so the most questionable part of her entire kit is the fact her eyes can turn completely white. But knowing we passed by Tracer, who can travel back in time to get rid of COVID, I think those eyes can get a pass too. On the 4th spot, I put another flying lady, that is Mercy. Flying is okay, weapons are okay too, but just this singular resurrect factor has brought her so high in this list. The only logical conclusion I am getting here is that the medical technology in this universe is so advanced, Mercy has some form or tool in her gloves, or she just prayed long enough to Jesus before each battle that she can come to the corpses of her deceased allies in battle and use the short window of a few seconds before they respawn to bring them back into a fully healed state in a few seconds. At least it's not straight up magic opposite to the fella we have in the 3rd spot. Yes, Zenyatta will be the first being on the podium of this video, with his primary weapon being at least weird and his ultimate ability and primary source of healing being just mystical powers that are unexplainable. I do not buy that things that seem magical might be science that we just don't understand yet. No, Sphere Man, you are floating in the air without any signs of it being caused by your robotic structure, and your iris glow up has to be one of the coolest looking abilities abilities in a game, but at the same time the most out-of-place, flabbergasting event. Imagine installing this game for the very first time, only knowing this is a hero-based shooter, and your first match you stumble upon a floating robot who can burn the eyes of every player involved in a match from time to time. This is the final stretch. The second place of this awesome list will go to one of the oldest heroes and one that has caused all the questioning towards the rules of the universe of Overwatch, the bowman Hanzo himself. I will do the Blizzard job for them and try to explain scientifically how can this completely normal human summon two enormous dragon-like creatures that kill people. Notice that in the cinematic named Dragons, the dragons slowly emerge from the tattoo Hanzo has on his arm. This has led me to believe that the tattoo itself is some form of out-of-this-world nanotechnology implanted into his skin, and the dragons, even though they look spiritual, are in reality just holograms or light technology, just like the green dragon of Genji, and the damage dealt by them are those micro-tiny itty-bitty robots tearing through the skin of anyone that is standing in their way. The Yuka Wakateke Hakuna Matata line might be some form of a passcode that activates this system, and the entire bow and arrow shtick is just a fancy cover-up. This, in my opinion, is the closest thing we could get to a believable explanation. But there is one thing, one action or one skill that I cannot explain even if I tried, and that is the entire kit of Kiriko. From kunais that reappear in Kiriko's pocket just because she spanned them around her fingers, to raw teleporting through map geometry. Sombra at least has her translocator and an entire exoskeleton or whatever technology she has stuffed inside her body to be compactable to do such tricks. But Kiriko is just eating an average American diet and wears a cute hat from Disneyland. She even boasts about how she's so powerful because of the fox spirit. Is that some kind of program? Some kind of software you had to install? No, it's straight up Jesus once again, granting her superpowers that no other human being in the entire universe of Overwatch is capable of. But Kiriko can do that every few seconds. Symmetra creating precise structures and shields using light architecture. Kiriko just farts and that makes a cute little Zen garden. Ana has a toxic mixture in her Bionade that block any form of healing for her enemies. Well, Kiriko stuffed some flour into used up sacks and it magically gets rid of everything. Oh, and your friend over there, is he hurt? No worries, just throw a, not even joking, piece of toilet paper. Nothing in her kit makes any sense, and even if she was a robot, the teleporting mechanic is still hard to believe without any device on the other end. For the love of God, whatever the Blizzard's designers were smoking when coming up with this annoying child, I want it. That will conclude this hilariously stupid video. I hope you enjoyed, and remember that if you think I got something wrong on this list, then make sure to tell me about it in the comments. If you enjoyed, then a friendly reminder to subscribe. It really doesn't hurt, I promise. And yeah, thanks for watching, have a lovely day, bye bye.